Good evening and welcome to Dateline on Delta TV. I am Esther Oputa. President Bola Tinubu has appealed to stakeholders to join the federal government in addressing funding challenges in Nigeria's tertiary education system. The president made the call at the 36th convocation of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State, where he noted that education could no longer rely solely on government funding. President Tinubu, represented by the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abdullahi Ribadu, said the government will continue to support universities but stressed that all stakeholders must help strengthen research, deepen university-industry collaboration, and provide sustainable development. He urged graduates to deploy their skills in entrepreneurship, agriculture, ICT, and other sectors to create jobs and contribute to national development. The Conference of Speakers of Southwest States has renewed its commitment to strengthening democratic institutions and deepening legislative cooperation across the region. This came in a communique released after a meeting of the conference in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, where the speakers commended President Bola Tinubu for efforts at promoting national cohesion while also applauding the Ogun State Governor, Mr. Dapo Abiodun, for ongoing infrastructure development in the state. The conference adopted a common position on electoral reforms, devolution of power, state policing, fiscal restructuring, and strengthening local government administration. It praised the achievements of the Amotekun Corps and advised all state assemblies to establish post-legislative scrutiny units to track the impact of key laws. The body urged Southwest governors to work with the National Boundary Commission to resolve persistent boundary disputes, even as it called on the governor to boost agricultural funding to enhance food security across the nation. Believers have been advised to continually offer thanks to God Almighty for His abundant blessings and unfailing faithfulness. The senior pastor of the Living World Gospel Mission Chapel of the Testimony, Reverend Emmanuel Chukwubuikem, gave the admonition during the annual Thanksgiving service of the church held in Asaba Province 1 headquarters. Henry Unogwa has details.
Speaking on the theme, Celebration of God's Faithfulness, Reverend Chukwubuikem urged Christians to cultivate a lifestyle of gratitude, noting that God's mercy endures forever and stressing that celebrating God's faithfulness meant acknowledging His unchanging nature, reliability, and consistent goodness to mankind. The cleric reminded worshippers that even when humanity lived in sin, God's love remained steadfast, adding that God neither consumed sinners nor abandoned those who trusted in Him, regardless of the circumstances or the times. He outlined ways believers could continue to enjoy God's faithfulness, to include accepting Christ wholeheartedly, choosing purpose over fear, and trusting in God's promises.
The message is that we should remain grateful to this grateful God and make sure that what He accepts most is absolute obedience. For all that He's doing for us, all that He requires is that we honor Him with our daily living and make sure that we live a life that will not bring reproach to the gospel.
Some worshippers said the Thanksgiving service offered them an opportunity to appreciate God for sustaining their lives, urging everyone to cultivate a lifestyle of thanksgiving, regardless of the challenges they faced.
Appreciate God in every aspect of their life. Thinking of what God has done for them is enough to say, Papa, thank you.
Gather to celebrate the faithfulness of God, having seen us through the month of January to February, all through, and now we are in the month of November.
The service, which featured special choral renditions and thanksgiving, was attended by the General Manager, Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, Mrs. Christine Jobome Emetulu, among other guests. Henry Onogwa reporting.
Activities marking the 2025 Press Week of the Nigeria Union of Journalists NUJ Delta State Council kicked off today with a special mass at the St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Asaba. Henry Usiayo reports.
In his homily, the officiating priest, Reverend Father Charles Onochie, drew from Luke chapter 21, verses 5 to 19, where Jesus spoke about signs of the end time, noting that many Christians had become overly carried away by prediction of Christ's second coming. The cleric harped on the importance of hard work, saying Christians must earn their living through diligence and not spend all their times praying without taking action. He charged believers to avoid the growing trend of sensational visions and prophecies circulating on social media and in some religious circles, while tasking all to live well, treat others fairly, and avoid taking advantage of people, emphasizing that righteousness remains the true path to a meaningful life.
Be careful of all those ideas and visions. Somebody will tell you, be very careful when you are going out of your house. That they said something on the way, that some of you will be guided by that. My dear friends, I pray for the grace of wisdom, the gift of wisdom upon you. What you need is spiritual structure, not vision upon vision. Build your life on structure. Every God-given day, I must pray my rosary. You can tell yourself you start with 5. From 5, you build to 10. From 10, you build to 15. From 15, you can build to 20. Let's start from somewhere.
In an interview, the state NEJ chairman, Comrade Churchy Oyowe, and the chairman of the Press Week Planning Committee, Comrade Perebotu, said the Thanksgiving was the union's way of appreciating God for preserving the lives of the journalists amidst the hazardous nature of their jobs, while committing the activities of the Press Week into his hands to ensure its success.
We are here basically to thank God ahead of time and to come again to still thank Him for what He has done, because we believe that the week will be a resounding success for us.
We decided to start our press week with a Thanksgiving to appreciate God for the successful practice throughout the year. In spite of security threats around the country, no journalist in Delta has been kidnapped or harassed, in a way. So appreciating God, thank God we are not doing burial. We have a lot of activities for the week. Tomorrow we'll be doing media visit to some media houses in Delta State here. Then on Tuesday we'll have a medical check at our press center, Mirambangida Road. After that we'll do a road walk to sensitize the public on the role of journalists in the society. Then thereafter, on Wednesday, we'll have football match. We must also keep it with the Nigeria Medical Association. Then thereafter, on Thursday, it's going to be the grand event. We're starting the governor and national president will also be there. Then we're going to have lectures, awards to some distinguished personalities in the society who have made a mark. Then we're going to round up again with the Thanksgiving service. I want to call on members to please come out for the entire program. We thank those who have come already. You can see it's a handful already, but we appreciate God for it.
Members of the Delta State NUG, led by the chairman, Comrade Churchy Oyowe, later made thanksgiving to God. Henry Usiayu reporting.
Meanwhile, the Press Week activities will continue tomorrow, November 17, with strategic visits to media houses across the state. On Tuesday, November 18, there will be a medical check and sensitization work at the Press Center on Miriam Babangida Road at 7 a.m., followed by a social outreach and orphanage at 12 p.m., demonstrating the union's commitment not only to journalism but also to community service and humanitarian support. On Wednesday, November 19th, attention will shift to sportsmanship and relaxation as the NUJ engages the Nigeria Medical Association NMA in a novelty football match. The friendly encounter scheduled for 4 p.m. at the NT Asaba football field is expected to foster camaraderie and strengthen interprofessionalism relationship in a fun and healthy way. The grand opening ceremony, lecture and award with the theme Tax Regimes and Exchange Rate Unification, Economic Implications and the Media Strategic Role will hold on Thursday, November 20 at the Orchid Hotel on DBS Road, Asaba, from 11 a.m. with Senator Joel Thomas as keynote speaker and the State Governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oberewori, as special guest of honor. A statement signed by Comrade Pere Botu and Comrade Bat Oza, Chairman and Secretary of the Planning Committee, says the event will have the NUJ National President, Comrade Al-Hassan Yaha, as chief host and the State NUJ Chairman, Comrade Churchill Oyowe, as host. The statement has enjoined journalists in the state to attend the activities. As the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference ended recently in Abuja, media practitioners in the country have been enjoined to uphold the ethics and ethos of the profession to sustain its vital role in the society. Executive Assistant to the Governor on Public Enlightenment Projects and Policies, Mr. Olisei Fejika, gave the charge while speaking with newsmen on the sidelines of the conference. He said there was a strong need to enforce discipline among practitioners to maintain standards and check quackery, which he noted was dragging the reputation of the profession in the mud. Mr. Ifejika stressed that the administration of President Bola Tinubu was not guarding the media, adding that press freedom remained the best tool for keeping any government accountable. He explained that creating a conducive environment for journalists to operate would strengthen the nation's democracy. The one-time Chief Press Secretary said Delta State was blazing the trail in press freedom, which had resulted in a robust partnership between the government and the media, adding that the cordial relationship was helping to deepen information dissemination across the state. Mr. Ifejika disclosed that government-owned media outfits in the state would witness major upgrades in 2026, noting that adequate provisions had been made in the 2026 budget to be presented to the State House of Assembly by Governor Sheriff Oberewori. He said the upgrades would reposition both print and broadcast organizations to meet modern standards. Lauding the performance of Governor Sheriff Oberewori, he said the governor had used landmark projects to silence critics, adding that all parts of the state had in the last 2 years enjoyed the dividends of democracy in line with the more agenda. Members of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in the state have been charged to remain united and for the success of the party. The state chairman of the party, Mr. Austin Okolie, gave the charge during the official coalition and unveiling of the party in the state capital. Henry Unogwa has details.
The state chairman of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Austin Okolie, an engineer, announced the dissolution of the ADC unveiling committee after what he described as a successful merger of political interest into one formidable coalition. He said the coalition was designed to unify the various political groups that recently agreed to operate under the ADC platform with the aim of reclaiming Nigeria's lost glory, urging members to remain hopeful and committed to rebuilding the nation through the values the ADC represented. Mr. Okolie appealed to political leaders across the state to work with a sense of history and posterity while commending the unveiling committee for a job well executed.
Nigeria must rise again. She must shine again. She must take her rightful place as the pride and giant of Africa. But we cannot achieve this by sitting on the fence. There is strength in unity. The people have now united under ADC to redeem the image and dignity of our great nation.
The vice chairman of ADC, Delta North, Mrs. Loretta Onochie, said ADC was more than a political party, but a movement built on accountability, discipline, and a renewed political culture. She assured members that they remained one family regardless of when they joined the coalition, stressing that the party's focus was to put Nigeria first and promote good governance, responsible resource management, and truth. Earlier, the chairman of the ADC Unveiling Planning Committee, Mr. Kenneth Bandi, commended stakeholders for their support and unity of purpose. He said the committee carried out its assignment with utmost dedication and thanked the party for the confidence reposed in the members.
With this unveiling date fully validated by the Delta ADC General Assembly, the committee approached our assignment with honor and absolute commitment. Every kobo spent in this coalition are from individuals. The sacrifices from you and from every single one here. I cannot deserve a hand of applause.
Other executive members in their goodwill messages expressed satisfaction with the merger of the various groups into a single ADC family. They described the unveiling as long overdue and appreciated all who worked tirelessly to make the event a success. The event climaxed with the formal presentation of the party's 25 local government areas chairman and its senatorial leadership. Henry Onogwa reporting.
An Ndokwa Clans Association, ANCA, has conferred retired Rear Admiral Mike Ona as its patron. Led by its President General, Prince Igwe Izekwe, the association said the honor recognized Admiral Ona's integrity, leadership qualities, and long-standing contributions to the Ndokwa nation. Henry Usiayo reports.
Prince Nzekwe said Admiral Ona's track record made him an exemplary choice for the role, expressing optimism that the association will work closely with him to advance development across the Ndokwa nation.
He's worthy to be that, and he has integrity. He has integrity to lead us, and we're supporting him. What we are expecting from him is a good advice from us. As we are moving, we believe in one voice. So that our voice will also be the one that when we say it, everybody will know.
In his acceptance speech, Rear Admiral Ona urged President Generals of Ndokwa clans to take proactive steps towards securing a greater future for the area. He stressed the need for the anchor to mentor youths to respect their leaders, embrace hard work, and avoid using social media to attack political leaders. The anchor patron commended Governor Sheriff Uburewori, former Governor Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, and Deputy Governor Sir Monday Onyeme for ongoing development projects in Ndokwa communities, including the Delta State Free Trade Zone, the Utaguno Ndemili Road, and the Akarai Abo Road.
I look forward to working with your association and contributing to the success of PGs of Clans Association. Together, gentlemen, let us make a difference. In my view of the aims and objectives, I urge you all at PGs in our various clans, which in most parts in the Ndokwa nation are rural communities, to take the necessary action to create a hopeful society which comes to the aid of our fellow citizens in our present times of hardship.
Chairman of the Ukwani Local Government Council, Honorable Possible Ajede, Special Advisor to the Governor on Livestock and Inter-Ethnic Matters, Chief Jeffrey Azaba, and a political chieftain, Dr. Gabriel Amuchi, in their remarks, described the conferment as well-deserved, saying the guiding hand of Rear Admiral Ona will strengthen the anchor's development efforts.
We will work with all of us and guide our people, give us leadership, because we guarantee in production, so that at the end of the day, the past land and people will be better for us.
Admiral is a man of little words, doesn't speak loud. He's an integrity man that hope they will maintain your path, because it's a situation of just giving someone a letter, and when he advises you to a letter, rather otherwise. So if they play their part, I know for sure Admiral will play his part.
The anchor comprises 37 clans across Ndokwa and Ukwani local government areas, and it is focused on unity and preservation of cultural heritage. Henry Usiayo reporting.
The Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, has dismissed claims suggesting that Christians are being targeted for genocide in the country. Mr. Fabemi stated that no religious, ethnic, or sectional group was under prosecution, stressing that recent killings across the country cut across different communities and were not directed at any particular faith. Speaking at a coronation ceremony in Kwara State, the AGF explained that attacks in states such as Zamfara and Sokoto, both predominantly Muslim, showed that the violence was not religion-driven. He acknowledged the country's insecurity challenges, but maintained that the federal government was intensifying efforts to curb terrorism, banditry, and other violent crimes nationwide. The Justice Minister urged Nigerians to remain patient with the reforms of the Tinubu administration, expressing optimism that the situation would improve. Arrangements by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund, to extend the student loan scheme to cover vocational and skills acquisition programs across the country have reached an advanced stage. The managing director of the fund, Mr. Kintunde Soya, who disclosed this to newsmen in Abuja, said the expansion aligned with the federal government's broader agenda for education and national skills development. Mr. Soya explained that although NELFund had focused mainly on supporting students in tertiary institutions since its launch, the next phase will ensure access for Nigerians pursuing technical and vocational training. He said the initiative reflected President Bola Tinubu's commitment to inclusive human capital development, stressing that no nation could grow relying solely on academic knowledge without skilled hands to transform ideas into practical results. And now to some nutrition and food. Egusi soup stands tall among Nigeria's most loved traditional dishes, rich in flavor, creamy in texture, and deeply satisfying to the taste buds. Made from melon seeds, it's cherished across regions and prepared in unique ways, from the thick, spicy Igbo version to the lighter stew-like Yoruba style known as Egusi Ijebu. Favor Okafor looks beyond the taste of egusi soup to its embodiment of unity, creativity, and nourishment.
Egusi soup traces its roots to farming communities in Nigeria's Middle Belt and southern regions, where melon seeds were cultivated and ground into a rich protein-packed paste. Cooking starts with boiling assorted meat, sometimes with stockfish or smoked fish, until tender. Palm oil is heated, onions added, and the ground egusi stirred in to form a rich paste. Then come water, pepper, crayfish, and seasoning for that signature aroma and flavor. Some prefer a non-fried method, adding the egusi straight into the broth before palm oil and vegetables like ugu, bitter leaf, or spinach. However it's made, egusi pairs perfectly with pounded yam, eba, or fufu.
I am Hausa by tribe, and I like egusi soup so much. I also love it very thick, especially with komo inside, and also fufu. Yes, if I get egusi soup with fufu, it's done.
It's an African dish that everybody loves, and as an Igbo man, I'm entitled to loving it too. I actually love it prepared with palm oil and some vegetables to garnish it, with a lot of assorted meats and fish. Very, very important.
Nutritionally, egusi is a powerhouse of protein, healthy fats, and minerals that help build and repair the body. Beyond nutrition, it holds cultural value, a must-have at weddings, festivals, and family feasts, reflecting togetherness and joy.
Melon has a way of bringing body and soul together.
Not everybody that eats rice. Some people prefer to go with swallow, and the best way to go with swallow in every occasion is actually egusi soup.
Altogether, egusi soup is more than just a food. It's a story of tradition, nourishment, and unity. In every bowl lies a taste of Nigeria's rich history and the comforting warmth of home. Favor Okafor reporting.
Let's go into the global scene. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and members of his government underscored their opposition to a Palestinian state ahead of a UN Security Council vote tomorrow on a resolution endorsing a US-backed Gaza peace plan. The draft resolution would follow up on the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas brokered by US President Donald Trump, giving the Council's blessing for a transitional administration and a temporary international security force in the devastated territory. Unlike previous drafts, the latest version of the resolution mentions a possible future Palestinian state, which the Israeli government is vehemently against. Mr. Netanyahu had come in for criticism from coalition members, including far-right Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who had accused him of failing to respond to a recent wave of recognition of Palestinian statehood by Western countries. The Premier replied today that he did not need affirmation, tweets, or lectures from anyone. Other ministers likewise expressed their opposition to Palestinian statehood, though none explicitly referred to the resolution. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar also said on X that the country would not agree to the establishment of a Palestinian terror state in the heart of the land of Israel. Far-right firebrand and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir went even further, calling the Palestinian identity an invention. Now to some business news. The federal government has said 40,000 hectares of land and 80,000 farmers have been lined up for the 2025-2026 dry season wheat program, expected to generate 160 billion naira. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Mr. Abubakar Kyari, stated this during the official flag-off of the National Agricultural Growth and Agro Pocket Project in Jere local government area of Borno State. He explained that Borno State received 3,000 hectares representing 6,000 farmers, while 16 states were participating in the wheat component of the program. Mr. Kyari said extension agents and quality control officers would guide farmers and ensure that seeds, fertilizers, and other inputs met required standards. He added that the scheme included women and young people to boost participation and national food production. Still in business, the House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Gas Resources to investigate the operations, financial reporting, and remittances of NNPC Liquefied Natural Gas LNG Limited with respect to Nigeria's liquefied natural gas NLNG. This followed the adoption of a motion moved by the member representing the Ndokwa Ukwane Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Nnamdi Ezichi, urging the House to carry out the investigation. In the motion entitled Need to Investigate the Non-Reporting and Non-Remittance of Equity Liquefied Natural Gas LNG to NNPC Limited, Honorable Ezechi noted that the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas NLNG was incorporated in the 1989 as a joint venture between the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, Shell, Total Energies, and Eni, with NNPC Limited holding the largest equity share of 49%. He further explained that NNPC LNG Limited was incorporated in 2012 in the Cayman Islands as a subsidiary of NNPC Limited to manage the sale of liquefied natural gas on behalf of the group. The lawmaker expressed concern that the financial operations, transactions, and statements of NNPC LNG Limited in the Cayman Islands had not been transparently reported to either NNPC Limited or NLG, which had resulted in the non-remittance of dividends, taxes, and other statutory payments due to the federal government of Nigeria. He noted that it was worrisome that certain deductions are allegedly being made from NLNG proceeds, particularly from the sale of equity LNG without formal notification or approval of the federal government. Now to some sports. 4 African countries have advanced to the FIFA U17 World Cup round of 16 in Qatar following the conclusion of the final group stage matches today. The countries moving on to the knockout stage of the U17 World Cup are Uganda, Burkina Faso, Morocco, and Mali. Burkina Faso and Uganda secured their places in the last 16 after defeating Germany and Senegal, respectively. Meanwhile, the likes of England, Italy, and Japan joined the African duo with comfortable wins in their final groups game fixture. In other matches, Democratic Republic of Korea edged out Venezuela, while Uzbekistan beat Croatia on penalties to claim spots in the knockout stage. The round of 16 will kick off on Tuesday, November 18, setting the stage for the tournament's high-stakes knockouts. That's the news now to unfold for the day. If you work to satisfy everybody, you will end up satisfying no one. True. And that's it on Dateline on Delta TV. Many thanks for staying with us. I am Esther Okuta. Good evening and have a lovely night rest.
Governor Sheriff once said, "A modern Delta is not a dream, it is a vision we are actively